Fat and Spicy show.
That's what it says, dude. That's what it says, and I'm
Is
still.
that what we're doing? I thought this was Critical Idiots. I see Aaron down here tonight.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't bring my dice.
You didn't bring your dice, dude, but I see you did bring something on top of your head, though.
My cigar. Yeah, this was given to me by one of the guys I work with. It's beautiful.
Oh, no. We're not gonna ignore the elephant in the room, dude.
What yeah, that's right. I got a new headset. It's a beautiful headset. It's crystal clear. Plugs right into the mic.
I see the headset. I appreciate that plug for that brand,
Mhm.
But no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about
What are we
something
talking
else.
about? What? My bald
You know
spot?
what?
Look, it's the same.
Talking about your green hair, bro.
Hey, this was your doing last week, man. I'm only doing this because you and Josh come up with this crazy concoction. And why am I always the butt of the jokes, dude?
What do you mean?
Oh,
what are you talking?
Why am I the
How
clown?
many Oompa Loompas did you have to sleep with to get green hair?
Oh, it's not about Oompa Loompas. Not at all.
Well, who's it about?
It's about
It's
Josh.
him
Gremlins?
auditioning to be the next
I'm a
Batman.
slave. Yeah, all right. Let me put a smile on
Give
that.
us your best Joker Batman.
I just did it. You get no more.
Why you gotta call me out?
Because we told.
You didn't tell me.
All right, so we'll get to the hair in a minute, but we have more pressing matters before we get started.
Pressing matters
are under a tornado
matters.
watch right now.
I'm under a lot of tornado watches, dude.
So what's going on with that? You got tornadoes? Like I heard the sirens going off when we were talking before the show and everything. Like, did something touch down, or are you guys in danger?
Well, usually it's tornado warning is essentially the potential threat for a tornado. When you're in tornado watch, that means one's been spotted in the area. And so far, we've been on tornado watch since it's 10:43. We've been since 9:00.
So one has been spotted in the area. So you actually have tornadoes touching down around you.
Yeah, so they're like consistent in the area. But
anything close? Like,
I mean, who knows? We don't. I guess you don't know until you just feel it's outside.
If you don't know, you know.
Yeah,
like we have the perfect show. Then I've got my hair colored green like a munchkin. You're about ready to get blown to Oz. It works out perfectly. We got
I'm the Wicked
down
Witch.
There.
I'm the Wicked Witch.
Yep. We got Oz himself right there. Aaron, the game master, the man behind the curtain. This is perfect.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Is he winding a machine and stuff? And he doing all that?
He was doing all kinds of
Yeah. That was funny. I think who else used that? Somebody else used it. I think a lot of people ended up using that, like in cartoons and stuff. Family Guy had the same concept thing. I think it's all fun. But other than that, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Fat and Spicy, guys. If you don't know, if you're new here, I'm Fat.
I'm Spicy.
And this is the Fat and Spicy Show. Today, guys, we have our amazing producer here, Laws, as always. And we have a special guest,
Hello.
Aaron. If you guys are familiar with our Critical Idiots show, which is every Monday where we do D&D, you guys will recognize him. He is here, and he is going to answer some questions about his private life, the bank account, social security number, stuff like that.
Oh, shit. What type?
So get your pens and paper ready,
We have a vampire in our audience. We might need your blood type as well.
So we love having you as a DM, but we thought we'd get to know the real you. So can you start out with talking about the first time that your mom walked in on you when you were? No, I'm just kidding. We're just kidding. We're just having fun, man. But it is the Fat and Spicy.
Has that ever happened? Because I'm curious now.
Oh my goodness. To who exactly?
Anybody, like all three of you. Has that ever happened to any of you?
Nope.
I will say it's probably happened to everybody here at some point.
Nope.
He's in denial.
Nope. I'm great.
I think it's more like, I think more as a parent, you don't sit there and say anything. You don't bring it up. You just kind of like, oh, close the door.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I got. Two soon to be teenage boys. I'm just waiting for the day where it's just like, oh,
he's like,
and can you really have that talk with your kids? Like, it's natural to. I mean, how do you do that? I don't know.
I think the easiest way is just kind of like beat around the bush about it. Like, you're gonna have
Well, if
urges.
you walk in and you're in on them when they're doing that, you might see them doing that.
What, I mean, that's
Beating
what I'm
around
saying,
the bush.
I think you should just be honest.
Nothing. I got nothing for that.
I think you should just be honest. Talk to your kids like they're fucking human beings. Be like, look.
It's okay to beat around the bush, son.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
just clean it up when you're done.
I'm not one to be like, so there's the birds and the bees. When mommy goes into the bedroom with daddy and then they like make lots of noise and they say,
usually what I say
God.
is stay away from that loose girl at the end of the street. I don't want any half slut grandkids.
You know how my dad
I'm
told
just
me,
kidding.
like,
I saw Jacob roll his eyes so fucking hard at that. He's like, you're gonna get us canceled for that.
My dad said, you don't want to have sex because you don't want a big whack coming out.
Fair
That's
enough.
what my dad said.
It's true. It's true. I mean, those are the truest words I've ever heard. I don't think I get any kind of talking. You know what I'm saying? It was like, did you fucking get no girl pregnant, Jacob? And I was like, all right.
And then he got some girl pregnant 3 times.
That's how it works.
All right, so I can real quick. Let's get this out of the way so I can put my green screen back up here without blocking out. Because when I did it, my hair looked ridiculous with the thing. So I'll show you guys what I did. This is thanks to Josh and his 10 subs on what was it, Tuesday?
Can you take the green screen down while you show us the green screen hair?
I can't hear a thing you're saying, baby. But I did get the green in there. I was worried it wasn't going to come in nicely.
I was laughing because you said you look like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, it's not great.
And it just hits me that he looks like the Oompa Loompa from the new Willy Wonka movie.
Who? Fucking Charlemagne or whoever played him?
Oh man. Let me see. See if Loz can look that up. Loz can look up the new Willy Wonka Oompa Loompa and show us a picture of him.
Leave it to me to find the deed.
That isn't. Yeah, that's.
But yeah, guys. Basically, last Tuesday, we kind of had a little thing going there. If we got 10 subs, that Spicy would dye his hair green and green screen green at that. So if you look at it with the green screen on,
now once I do it, you see the top where, like, if I put this over,
he's just a head.
I like it's like if you sit on the one side, it's like your head's on fire. If you sit on the
other
side,
do me a favor
like
and take
black hair.
Do me a favor, just take the headphones off for just a second. He's just a face. It's a bicentennial man.
Okay.
Wait, are we talking about the new Oompa Loompa or like which Oompa
doesn't matter.
Loompa?
Can we not compare me to an Oompa Loompa on this? People, I work with people that watch this show.
We totally are.
All right.
Hold on. Because I gotta know, because he kind of looks like this one guy. This one?
That's
this
him,
Oompa?
yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought you were talking about this one.
Hugh Grant.
I didn't know Hugh Grant played Oompa Loompa.
It's the most recent one. Like it came out at the end of last year, or early this year sometime.
Did you watch it, Aaron?
So
No.
Not the Johnny Depp one?
No, this isn't the Johnny Depp one. Timothy This one was good. Hey now. This one's supposed to be like an origin for an origin for Willy Wonka meeting the Oompa Loompas and first setting up the factory. So like Hugh Grant is supposed to be like the first Oompa Loompa. He gets to work for him, and it's like Willy Wonka is young, so he's played by Timothy Chalamet instead.
Yeah, definitely. I recommend the film. It's a really good movie.
I have a question though. Why would you not use a little person like you did in the other 2 movies?
Why do you need to when you have so many superstars that are willing to do it?
Because you have so many little people superstars too.
They have plenty of work there. They got circuses and stuff to do.
My God.
No, we appreciate you guys who have been here for the trip that has ended today. The
views expressed on Phat and Spicy are not the views by held by PNS Studios. We have to put that out.
No, for you have to put that out. Anyways, aside from all that, But yeah, no, Aaron, we actually we're thrilled to have you on here, man, and we're upset that we couldn't get the go ahead forward with Monday's Critical Idiot session, man. Definitely was looking forward to it, and unfortunately for some reason our signal was out. So, some idiot cut our fiber optic cables around my house and just
I heard about that.
If you didn't want to play, dude, you could just let us know.
Right? I wish it was that. No, we actually look forward to it. I know Devin looks forward to it. I look forward to it. I know Spicy looks forward to it. So, man, we look forward to Monday though. This Monday.
Yeah, we're doing it this Monday.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to excuse myself real quick. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, dude, I'm going to tell you this. I have had a blast. Episode 0 was great, getting everything set up. The episode 1 was absolutely fantastic. You built this rich world. You've got the music. You've got the ambiance. Like, I was trying to swat flies away for realsies when we were doing that, just because you had that when we were entering that town and the mist over everything. Dude, you paint a story so well. So I've been really wanting to know, how old were you the first time you played D&D?
How old was I the first time I played D&D? So I honestly can't remember. I want to say I was probably about 10 years old, because I usually just maintain that I've been playing about 20 years thereabouts. So if I had to guess, I would say around 10 years old is when I first started playing D&D.
Now, for people who are not familiar with the concept of D&D, can you give us a kind of general, construct of what D&D is?
Yeah. So it's a collaborative storytelling element game. Basically, it's like if somebody was sitting down across from you, like in a library, reading a book to you, but when you get to like certain people saying or doing things, instead of the person reading the book, somebody from the audience will like say what that character says or what that character does. And they won't read it from the book. They'll just decide that that's what the character says or does instead. I think that's
so
the
almost like
way to explain it.
One big game of improv.
Yes.
I think that's amazing. I want to think that's how it started. The couple of buddies was just sitting around and they were like, "Hey man, let's just make up an adventure." Because I do that with my little brothers, or my older brother. We drive on our car rides and we'll just be like, "Hey, let's make up a story." We'll just go back and forth and we're just like, "Here, that's where we're at." And I think somebody just had the balls to sit there and be like, "Well, let's put it on paper."
Yeah,
Dragon cup for the chat.
Oh yeah,
love the dragon mug, dude.
Did you get that from
somebody
Bad
that's a dragon cup.
Does it got a big and on it for like D&D?
Yes. It also has the ability scores across the bottom.
The only thing that it would be missing is if it had a die on the head or something. You could just spin that D20 real quick.
Well, that would be nice. Just a little mount.
Yeah, but no, let's see. I have a question as well, though. I want to ask you.
That's what I'm here for. Questions.
Yeah.
Bring them.
No. So, when did you? Well, when you said you're around 10 years old, right? Is that when you discovered your love for D&D, or is that just you introducing to the game, or was it kind of first?
That was my intro. That was my introduction to the game. There was another game like sometime well beyond that where I realized like how far you could go with D&D, and that's when I was like, okay, this is why I love RPGs. That came way later.
I gotcha. Now, go ahead, dude. You know me. I got 30 questions.
I have a list.
Hey.
At what point did you start DMing? When were you like, I want to start heading up these adventures instead of being a participant?
It definitely wasn't. I want to start heading up these adventures, and I want to and stop being a participant or whatever. It was definitely a case of if I wasn't going to run the game, we weren't going to have a game, and that's kind of how you get that forever DM label that you hear about in the community.
That's how it was with my first time. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, hey, we need somebody to run the game. And I was like, well, I guess I'm the best at storytelling, so I guess unanimously it's me. So I mean, that's how usually it goes. So do you enjoy DMing as much as you enjoy playing, or?
So I hit on this with one of my friends a while back, where he was trying to figure out why he enjoyed playing a lot more as opposed to GMing. There are certainly people out there who do, and it kind of depends on how you value certain things, like creative input versus just doing stuff, or versus like solving a situation, as it were. And in general, I tend to enjoy playing more than running the game. But there have been moments where like somebody would do something and I would be like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I would be like jazzed for like the rest of the week because of something that one person did or whatever. And it's like, they're few and far between, but those are things that make GMing worthwhile. But as a player, it's if you have a good GM who immerses you in what is happening and has like just a little bit of that spark of creativity, if you're really a big fan of discovering things or solving things, and as a player, your scope of discovery is much greater than it is as a GM. Because like if you're clever enough, you can figure out what the players are going to do before they even do it. And usually they won't surprise you, whatever. But as a player, you're like so busy trying to keep track of what everybody else is doing to like make sure you're not making mistakes and such, that like whenever something happens, you're like, oh man, I can't believe that.
Yeah. So as have you ever tried? I know some people or some DMs or GMs have played both roles at the same time. Have you ever tried that? Like both player and GM.
So there are times where I do that, but it's always to facilitate something. I don't play as a player while I'm running to be like, well, I want to play too, so I'll just be a player. Because you have that whole dichotomy with the GM PC and how GMs might focus a little bit too much on their PCs and such. And whilst I think I could handle that because I have had like that experience where like I wasn't going overboard with it, but I wasn't dialing it back as much as I should have been when I first tried doing that. I think I could handle that now, but the point isn't to be a player as well. The point is to facilitate a game, and I'd much rather focus on that than having a PC relevant. But like,
I'd be afraid that I'd be using that character that I had to further the DM story instead of letting the group do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my fear.
It's not about outshining the players is the bigger thing that I'm concerned about. So like I have had times even recently for like some of these paid games where I'll have like a player character in, but it's usually like, hey, we're at like 5 players and the group really wants to get going and they've waited long enough to get going. So it's like, cool, I'll just make a 6th character to join the group. And it's just going to be like this not at all overpowered regular character who's like half of their stuff is just out of combat, back at the camp, support stuff. Like this wizard NPC took identify, so now your wizard doesn't have to. Like things like that.
That's cool. That's cool. Like having a backup, like a satchel, holding your extra. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I like that.
So now we touched on it. You touched on a couple of subjects, and I have a couple of questions about. First being, as you say, you are getting paid to do these DM sessions, so you are a DM or GM for hire, correct?
Yes, I am in fact that.
So what does that entail, that job, essentially? So you get paid to what?
Like, does it say on your business card, have monster manual, will travel?
It should. I should have it. I would have it on the back, be like, this is all the systems I could run, but I would need like a 3x5 index card for it to say as the many systems that I can run.
I think it's just amazing the fact that you actually are doing this. Is this full time, or is this your main gig or your side gig? Or
this is the thing that I do to make the most money. Yes, okay. It's not the only thing I do to make money, but it does make the most money. So
okay, so you are essentially getting paid to run games for people.
Correct.
Now,
Homie's living the dream, dude.
I mean, yeah, and that's one of the things I was going to ask. When did you figure out that you could actually make money from this?
Yeah.
About 15, maybe 10 years ago almost. But a good while ago, I knew that people could be paid to run games. It's just a matter of like who you know, and if you know people who make enough money to like afford to pay you regularly to run games. Because that's like the same crowd of people that are like they can afford to go to the movies every weekend, essentially. And then like if you have to travel to meet them, or if you're actually good enough at GMing. So there's a couple of different factors to it that make it a possible thing. But it's definitely comes down to like who you know and how good you are at it, because even now there's like a split in the RPG community of people who just like paid GMing. You shouldn't be paid to have fun running the game. And it's like,
yeah, I seen that on Reddit. I looked at it on Reddit. I was like, but then again, it's like, you go and you can, of course you can make a burger at home, right? But you go to McDonald's or Burger King or Five Guys or whatever, you go there anyways, right?
Yeah, there's because I've had this argument a few times. Yeah, I've had this argument a few times on like Reddit or whatnot, where and I've actually been on both sides of this argument before. Because initially I was like not a fan of people getting paid to GM. Yeah, but I realize now that a big part of that was like I didn't have enough money to afford to pay somebody to like run a game for me. And if I could, I probably wouldn't be a forever GM. But like I've had arguments with people that made me realize that like there are some people that are just not going to get it. Because usually if I run the argument long enough where I'm defending paid GMing, I get to the point where the other person is like, well, I got this guy here who's like my best friend and he runs the game for me all the time for free. Why would I need somebody like you? And it's like, okay, if you can't understand why paid GMing is a thing, because you have somebody who's running games for you all the time anyways, you're never going to.
I guess the biggest thing is this, you got a buddy that would fix your alternator, right? And you got an actual mechanic. Of course, you're going to pay more for the actual mechanic, but hey, which one's going to know, that's going to come out right? Which one are you going to know that's going to actually be, stand behind their product? That's a big pencil, dude.
It is a big pencil.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm thinking. I got my notebook.
Is it a normal size pencil, or is that just a huge pencil?
What do you want from me?
I don't know why. I guess because it was close to the screen, it looked like a huge pencil next to your head. And I was like,
I've got a huge pencil. I got to know though. So when you first did the paid DM, were you doing it offline? Of course, like you were going to people's houses, or they were coming to you, and you were actually setting up live sessions.
No, when I immediately started with paid GMing with online sessions.
No kidding. So how did you get the word out back in the day?
So I only started like actually doing paid GMing like regularly to pay bills around this time last year, in fact. So like if you see on my my SPG profile, it says I've been on SPG, which is Start Playing Games, for 2 years. 2 years ago, they Start Playing Games put a bunch of money to make it to where like every other advertisement on Facebook to the right people was for their Start Playing Games service.
Really?
Yeah. So
SPG stands for Start Playing Games? Yes.
It's a website where people can run paid games, and players looking for games can find GMs that way.
Okay.
So there's other ways you can go about getting paid games set up. I see people posting listings like on Facebook all the time, like, hey, I'm running this module in 2nd edition out of Tulsa or Austin or whatever. I'm looking to maybe meet up at this store, but I can meet up at other places too. And it'll be like this much a week per session and whatnot. It's like that's usually how the advertisements read. But like they put out a bunch of advertisements like around this time 2 years ago. I saw that and I went through the process of setting up because like I already knew I was a really good GM at that point. So it's like, hey, maybe getting some paid GMing worthwhile would be okay. And there was quite a few hoops I had to jump through back then. I don't know if you had to jump through a bunch of hoops.
I was going to ask that. I was like, what's the protocol that you got to go through? Like, what's the interview?
No kidding.
Application.
Can I just put myself up there?
So the protocol I had to do for start playing games, and I enjoyed that they made this a thing. I like running through the hoops took forever. And I'll explain why. Yeah, running through the hoops took forever, and I'll explain why that took forever in a moment. But I enjoyed that being a thing because you could list games, but you could not list games publicly unless you finished going through those hoops. And one of the big thing that took me forever in start playing games was you had to get reviews from people in start playing games before you could have your listings publicly listed. And you had to get like 5 to 10 reviews or whatever before you could be publicly listed. So it meant that only people who could like get 5 people to go to make their own accounts and start playing games and then find their profile page and then write out a Facebook post saying, hey, I played with this person before. They're really good. They like these systems or whatever. Like just it had to be like basically 3 sentences or whatever, but they had to write something and post it. And getting 5 people to take 5 minutes out of their day to go on the website, make an account, and then write a review. It's like,
well, indeed.
Yeah, everybody says it's like, yeah, I know like 5 to 20 people I could ask for doing that. But it's like, if you've ever had to like ask 5 people in your friends group for like $5, you know that takes time for them to be like, yeah, I got $5. And then it's like a week later, they'll be like, hey, I got that $5 you asked for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like me when it comes to paying for the services that we have to do.
And I hope that, that process is, it got either a little more complex or just a little bit more defined, because you definitely want to make sure, especially when you're paying money for something, you definitely want to make sure you get somebody that knows their stuff and knows what they're doing. Because I would hate to pay, like if we were to pay Aaron and he show up and be like, give me a second, guys, let me look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
pages and
I'm like,
it says you all tripped over the wagon.
It'd be like playing Baldur's Gate 3 with Josh. It's frustrating as hell, man.
Oh my god! And speaking of like of being frustrated and stuff, have you ever gotten frustrated with a game? Like, have you ever had players that just completely derail from your plans?
So as a GM then, so not really, actually. I tend to. So I've had basically the first 10 years of me running games. But let's rewind that back a bit. After the first time I played, the first time I ran a game, I did not run like the D&D game that I just played in for other people or anything like that. I was just like at middle school lunch or whatever with some friends of mine, and we were in like basically a special needs classroom because I volunteered to help out there, like in the middle of lunch and whatnot.
Well, Spicy was there, but he didn't volunteer. He was just there.
And instead of like playing with dice or playing with like the books out or whatever, we had like a bunch of like the stacking like Jenga blocks or things of that nature. Like for some reason, this classroom had like 4 sets of Jenga in it. What
I am special needs. I love Jenga.
So what I wound up doing was just like I found like 4 blocks that were like very distinct from like the rest of the blocks. They were like slightly discolored or whatever, and I handed it to each of the other people, and that was their character.
This is you now.
I would just map out the dungeon by literally placing other Jenga blocks to be like, these are walls, these are doors, here's like goblins coming in.
Oh, shut up. That's so
And
cool.
like we didn't roll dice, we didn't have like character sheets for it. It was just like some guy is playing a barbarian or whatever, and some guy is playing like a rogue. And like I was already well versed in fantasy, so I already knew like what that was supposed to be doing. In terms of like what that might look like in a character sheet. So I would just tell a person if they like succeeded on the backstab or not. And then like a goblin would attack them and I'd say if it stabbed it or not. And we just imagined going through whole dungeons with like just Jenga blocks with like no dice or whatever.
Oh man, nerding out.
And that
That's
brain of
amazing.
yours, I bet you took you on the best adventure ever.
It did. So the point of that is I didn't have a map ahead of time. I was like, yeah, I'm going to run these kids through like this dungeon with these Jenga towers or whatever. I just made a dungeon up on the spot. And what I would wind up doing is in a bunch of the games that I ran after the fact, where we had character sheets and stuff like that, is that I would wind up having not done enough prep anyways, that I would just improv it. So it's like I already knew like what page a goblin was found on. I already knew what page a roper was found on. I already knew a longsword is always a D8 plus strength bonus and damage.
So when you say well versed, you mean well versed. Like this is like an encyclopedia here.
Yes. I don't have. Go ahead.
You notice when we play how quick he is to just know the dice right off. Okay, he has to roll this and he has to do. I mean, Aaron is just so fast with this. It boggles me. I can't keep up, and I'm trying to keep notes.
Well, for you being the DM that you are in the man-made fantasy thesaurus, shall we say, it was a dictionary.
Yeah.
What do we,
Yeah.
I want to put a little bit of that knowledge to the test. If you're okay.
Oh shit! Here we go.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
So what I got here is I got a couple descriptions of some monsters. And I'm going to give you the description, and I want to see if you can name that monster. Now these are all D&D based, so Dungeons and Dragons. So we're going to go. We're going to start. I'm going to give you 5, and they're going to get progressively a little bit harder.
Hold on. We have to do the intro. It's time for Name That Monster. I'm your host, Spicy. Welcome to the show. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just got the cheap cars salesman suit on.
Love it. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
I remember that from roleplay. Yeah.
You.
All right. So, are we ready?
I'm here to try.
Okay. So, this massive red-scaled creature is known for its fiery breath that can incinerate entire villages. It hoards treasure and is one of the most feared beings in all of D&D.
Ooh. My first wife.
Not you.
Okay. It's like, I mean, it sounds like it's a red dragon. You didn't mention any wings, though, so I don't know if you're trying to gotcha me there or not.
It is the red dragon. It is the red dragon. Okay. All right. That's one. All right. The next one. This creature is a classic dungeon dweller with a powerful bite, a long, sticky tongue, and the ability to mimic common objects like treasure chests to lure in its prey.
Ooh, I mean, you said it in the name.
I know, right?
It's already in the name.
Right in there,
I was going to say you gave it away, dude. That one I knew.
It's obviously a sticky tongue.
Yeah, it's obviously.
It's a sticky tongue. That's right.
Yeah. It's a mimic. I'm trying to remember what the one is where it's just a pile of gold coins, just so I can be like, here's an alternative answer.
Is there a pile of gold coins that's not a mimic?
That's not a mimic?
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is you said you were looking at the one that was a pile of gold coins as opposed to a mimic. The only mimics I'm used to are the ones that are a chest that like open up.
Yeah,
and
there's I can't remember if it was in like later 3rd edition or 4th edition, but there was a mimic that was introduced where it was like instead of being a chest, it's just a pile of coins. Like I mean, like a big pile of coins. Like the big old adult version of this is like the coins you see Smaug sitting on in The Hobbit.
Okay.
That's crazy. Could you imagine just like pretending like you're gonna run and just dive in this pile of gold coins? It's like,
and then a mouth just opens up.
that's it. Your character's done. Like what?
Yoink.
Oh my gosh. Okay, number 3. So far, 2 out of 5. Good. So number 3, an undead creature clad in rusty armor. It serves a higher evil power. It can reform even after being struck down, unless its dark curse is broken.
Ooh. It doesn't sound like a lich since you're like, it says it's in armor.
That was my guess, was lich.
Yeah, but he said it's in armor and such.
But liches are usually like creatures, like dragons and whatnot, right?
Lich is like a mage that, again, like a wizard or something that has sinned that are trying to like learn too much.
I don't think this is correct, but maybe a Death Knight.
That's it. Okay. 3 out of 5 correct so far.
Wow. You got the last one's better be a fucking Boffo one, dude. You can't stump this guy.
This is why they get paid. You know what I'm saying? This is why you get. This is why you pay.
We need to Fat and Spicy.
When I look at
when
I go take my car to the mechanic, I want him to say, "Hey, that's the alternator, that's the radiator." Now that's the thing that keeps the car from running hot.
Or let me look on page 43.
Hold up, I'm holding this YouTube video. Can you hold that phone for me real quick?
Yeah.
I mean, you say those things. I have heard and seen mechanics and HVAC people, and then like the kind of people who would repair like washing machines and whatnot. And somebody would describe a sound to them, or they would play a sound to them, and they'd be like, "It's this thing here." And then I've seen my dad where he'll like somehow he'll phonetically sound out the sound. Like I've seen him fix our washing machine before when I was a kid, where he like phonetically sound out the sound the washing machine was making, and then Googled that and figured out correctly how to fix the washing machine.
Could you imagine just grab the phone and be like, cluck, 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 cluck.
Going
How do you spell
THUNKATSH?
My
washing machine is beatboxing in B minor. Can you tell me how to fix this?
Beatboxing in B minor.
Yeah, that is wild. All right, number 4. This insect-like creature is known for burrowing through stone, creating vast tunnels. Its sharp claws and acidic spray make it a deadly foe underground.
Oh, that is a tough one.
I think I know, dude, but I'm going to let Aaron, the master.
Obviously, the great mole sage.
It sounds like it's either I think it's an ankleg or an umberhulk.
My guess is the ankleg. I know
I don't think an umberhulk has. Yeah, I don't think an umberhulk has acidic breath, so I'll go with the ankeg.
It is the umberhulk.
Ah,
really?
You did. You got it. It was in there. It was in the answer, so we'll let it slide.
But ankeg that's what they use is the acidic to get through the rocks.
Yeah.
I think Jacob's cheating over here.
No. I think so.
He's got an extra D20 under his hat.
We'll let Aaron double check it, on his end. All right, but the last one, number 5. Okay. For all the marbles, for all the dice. This strange invisible being exists between dimensions, and it has a habit of whisking away unfortunate adventurers to a far-off kind of demi-planar prison, often never to be seen again.
The Crow.
Bruce Lee's son?
I know nothing about D&D, FYI.
Visible denizen exists between dimensions, has a habit of whisking people off to far off places.
Like a far off kind of a demi-plane prison.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Smay, is it?
That's not ringing any bells for me.
You ready?
Yeah. Is it the Smay?
Do you have any kind of guesses, like at all?
I gave you
as guesses, it would have to be some sort of like
it exists between dimensions.
So what do we have that's interdimensional or ethereal that takes people away?
Now it's saying that it's the retriever.
The retriever, huh?
Like a golden retriever?
Yes, Lassie is taking people away and sending them off to prison.
Like a Grim Reaper?
Oh, these. Yeah, I've never seen this gnarly construct spider looking thing before.
Are you sure it's not just a retriever?
A jester is called retriever.
It's called a retriever, right?
Yeah, just retriever.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what it is.
Apparently a huge construct, chaotic evil, 19 AC, almost 200 hit points.
Why are you cheating?
Yeah, what's going on?
It's already said the answer. I already said it.
He did say the answer.
We can see the reflection off your glasses, bro.
Oh, he's not. That's P-Hub. No, but no, 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 is definitely good, especially as they got harder down the line. Now, do you happen to know how many monsters there are in the world of D&D?
Oh, come on.
Indefinite.
Indefinite. Because you can create your own. You can make up something and have its own character sheet for it.
Have you yourself ever made up anything, Aaron? You made up a monster?
Yeah,
Have you ever created something cool?
Have you ever created something cool?
Everything else is lame.
I
know
do
what I
feel
mean.
like I do feel
No.
like for a game of D&D, I have made something cool. So it was a while ago where I ran a Pathfinder game for like my circle of friends at university, and I don't know why they decided to do this, but they all opted to play a gothic horror game.
Ooh.
So I was like, sure, I know a lot about Ravenloft, so like I could just port things over from Ravenloft for that. But I wanted to make something that I knew they would like actually be afraid of, because I knew that like we were playing first edition Pathfinder at the time, and I know that like if I didn't make something that they would actually be afraid of, then they would just be like, yeah, we're superheroes because we're playing D&D and we're like unkillable and things like that. So what I wound up doing is I made a setting that is it's constantly plagued with like this fog weather effect that basically has like a 1 in 4 chance of happening any given time the weather changes. And the base effect for the weather effect is that if you fail a series of saves while you are ensconced in this fog, you just straight up lose experience points.
So with that, now is that by far one of the most complex ones you've made?
I do think that is one of the most complex things I've made.
Sounds crazy. I'm over here thinking along the lines of just like a monster that's really irritating, and just kind of just like every so often it's just like it just tags along with you the whole time. It's just like an attached little annoying fairy or something. Like, and you just have like imagine just like a sound loop just consistently going the whole time, just traveling. You just have that sound loop playing. I think that'd be hilarious. That's why I don't DM, because I'd get up people's nerves.
No, you do that without DMing.
We have a request from the audience.
I did it. They saw me do it. But read it out. I'll do it again.
I need Spicy to take off his headset and lean down and let the log flames become his hair like a spicy troll.
All right, hold on. Let me lower my chair.
Log flame, like the flames in the background.
Are you not entertained?
It's hilarious.
What am I, a fucking clown? I'm here to amuse you.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's funny. Dude. That's funny.
I gotta know, dude. So you're a professional DM. You kick ass, and I'm telling you that as somebody who absolutely loves D&D, loves RP, loves to get in the adventure. I think you've seen me play. You know I like to be in there when I'm there. As a professional D&D DM, what is the worst session you've ever had? Where you're like, man, what am I doing here? Have you had one of them instances?
Tell him yes. Like, he started playing with us.
Everything goes wrong. Yeah, when he came with us. Shut up, dude. But you know what I'm saying? Like, have you had that thing where like just people they're not focused, or they don't care, or they're just not? What's your take on that? Your worst
session. Late. Now you don't have to name anybody. There's no particular group, that we're going to name. But if you want to, you can by all means. But we're not asking for that. Just kind of like a general basis.
As far as paid sessions go, like not counting any sessions where like we find out the majority of the people are not going to make it like in the last half hour or whatever before the session, not counting any of those, because I just don't run at that point. I don't think I've had any paid sessions that were like absolutely truly terrible like during the session or whatever. I have had one session where it was like really slow to get started because like everyone was sleepy going into it for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, our episode 0, yeah.
And well, it was also like we weren't like going into the session immediately going into a combat or whatever. So it was like it took us a bit to get going because it was basically like we're doing like effectively doing homework for everybody before really getting into things. But I've also had another session where like it seemed fine over the course of the session, but then like when the session ended, one of the players dropped from the game without saying anything post-session or whatever, but he apparently did say something to one of the other players, and he just like exploded on that player. Like, the thing you do here is the reason why I don't like D&D with people, whatever. Like, basically just unloading on him out of nowhere for whatever reason. In
the middle of a session.
Not in the middle of the session. This was after a session.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't see this at all because he just posted it to another person's, like a direct DM to that person or whatever.
I gotcha. Oh man, that's crazy, dude. Talk about getting a little awkward there for comfort.
Yeah.
You know, so you say you don't really kind of like have bad games, but you say that you don't play the last game. Like if the crew's about to get wiped out, you just don't run it.
Not if the crew's about to get wiped out. Like I have ran ATPK in my paid games before.
ATP, what does that mean?
A total party kill. Like where you kill every member in the group when there's like no redemption out of it. I've had one actual TPK in the over like the year of running games in SVG that I've run so far, and it wasn't so much like I absolutely killed all of the characters, all their bodies are annihilated because like some archwizard used disintegrate or whatever. So like in order to even bring the characters back, some other person would have to come in and pay like 10,000 gold pieces for true resurrection. It wasn't like that. It was just the party knew a warband of orcs was going to attack a town, and rather than move on, the party was like, we're going to defend the town. And the way they decided to do that was they wanted to go like 12 miles outside of town in the path of the orc warband and set up defenses. Like basically it took a section of wilderness that was between where the orcs were coming from and the town, and they home alone to that section of wilderness to try and defend against the orcs. And they wound up taking like the orc warband down to like a fourth of its total members. But then they all got killed by the end of that. And then rather than like continue to play in that world or be like, so you're kidnapped by orcs at the start of next session or whatever, they opted instead to be like, they knew a bit more about what they wanted to do. Because this was like generally like their second or third time playing ever. And it was the most sessions they've had in a row with somebody. So they were just like, oh, we know a bit more about what we want to do. We know a bit more about how you run games. We'd like to just start a new game with new characters rather than continue this story. So that's what made it a TPK.
And you were okay with that as a DM? You're just like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they're paying for it. Whatever they want to pay for, I'm fine with that.
I mean, because I feel like, and this is just me personally, that if we're doing something and we're out there and I take one to the chest, that's it. Like that, the dice rolled, you know, he happened to hit Spicy and Spicy's gone and they got to deal with that. You know, I'm happy with that. I don't mind that at all.
I think that's a crazy concept to think about. You know, like just one day you're playing, the next thing you know, just like you're dead. Boom, you're gone.
Dude, I played my cleric Stump for what did I say? I think it was like 2.5 years almost.
Yeah.
And when he bit it, I had to tell my group, I'm like, I don't think I want to play anymore. Like, oh, come on, make somebody new. And I'm like, yeah, but you killed Stump. I mean, and it wasn't like he killed him. It was an accident. Things happen. But the rolls didn't work. And dude, I was depressed for a week or two. I was like, man, I miss my guy.
That's crazy, dude.
Like,
but I get it.
You know?
I get it. You know, coming especially from the world of role playing in GTA, you know, you definitely get attached to these characters, you know.
What would happen if something to you mentally and physically yourself, if something happened to Dr. Bucko in a game? You know what I mean? It'd feel like something, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, I'd be upset. You know, I'd be upset. But again, you know, like I said, I'm one of those people that roll with the punches, and like I said, I'm willing to kill.
You
off
can roll with the punches all you want. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I'm willing to kill off a character for the sake of a story.
He is. He kills more characters off than anybody I know.
not fast characters, not just like, oh, I made one
No,
today.
no,
So I
no,
did
no,
that
no,
tomorrow.
no.
No, I'm all about longevity, except in the bedroom. I don't know why I said that. Anyways,
Reminds me of my honeymoon.
no, but I was
You
going to
think I get
ask you
yelled
though.
at?
I was going to ask you this though. Have you ever let players win? You know, even when you know
Yeah.
they
Have
should
you
have
ever given
lost,
them a gimme?
but just because like maybe their
Ooh,
idea was too good to
that's a
pass on.
good. Yes, I will say I have let players win.
Really?
Not in the sense of like, I'm gonna fudge my dice here and make it to where like, oh, that was a 20. No, that was a 1. The orc didn't actually crit you or whatever. Not in that sense. So there's, if you're clever enough, there's a lot of tools, even just in like only 50 pages of the monster manual. If you're clever enough, there's a lot of tools to get your players to do whatever you want in a game. And so an example of this would be is I had a game once where the players were basically facing the boss at like the end of the first level of this dungeon. And the players knew that like this was going to be a problem for them and that this thing was a boss, not just because it was like this like bugbear or whatever was obviously is like, I'm the chieftain of these goblins here or whatever. It's not just because of that. It was the moment combat started, this small say nothing goblin standing behind the bugbear cast bless on the bugbear, which gives him an extra D4 to all of his rolls in combat.
All of his
basically.
rolls.
Yeah. It's like, I've never seen other GMs do that. I don't watch a lot of like streamer games that much. So that being said, but like I've never heard of people doing that. And I know none of my friends have seen that before. And none of my friends have seen me do that before. So like the goblin was like, I cast bless on this bugbear chieftain with a great sword or whatever. The players are like, guys, we're about to get our crap rocked. And I had an instance where, because they're like a bugbear or whatever, they have like multi-attacks. They can attack twice. And I had an instance where the fighter person he's been giving me problems the entire dungeon because he's like, I got a polearm. I got like polearm mastery and sentinel, which is just this annoying build every GM in 5th edition has had to deal with. And
you taught him a lesson.
He definitely was getting his stuff rocked in because it was like, for whatever reason, when I'm a GM, I will find my 20s on dice rolls. I have monsters making saves that they have no business making whenever I'm the GM. So this bugbear goes to multi-attack this this fighter person, and they crit their first attack on the multi-attack. And even with the house rule we had at the time, where I imported the 3rd edition rule over, where you have to confirm the crit.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that in 3rd edition.
Time and confirmed the crit.
Yep.
And then we had
brutal crits going. Dice.
No, crazy. But it was a mechanic.
I know.
Are you sure you crit?
Yeah, basically. But they crit his first attack, confirmed the critical, and then we had like another house rule where like criticals were just doing obscene amounts of damage. So it basically dropped the guy from like almost full health to less than a third of his health. And I could tell he was genuinely upset because he thought his character was going to die. And he wasn't upset like he was shouting or anything. It was just like things are about to get really tough because like
he got humbled real quick.
Yeah. I could tell he was upset because it's like he knew that like he's probably going to die, and when he dies, the front line for the group is going to collapse because then the bugbear is just going to charge the wizard or whatever. So what I did instead of following up with a second attack is I just had the bugbear attempt to grab the guy, and they were standing next to a well, and he was just going to pick the guy up and throw him down the well, which was a 50 feet drop to the 2nd level of the dungeon. So I was
Do you
just
ever get so frustrated you just want to be like, shut up,
we're done for the day, I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah.
As a GM, no, not usually.
I mean, he's getting paid, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he also loves what he does.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like you love what you do, but like sometimes you like get so involved in the story that like you're just like, oh, just do what I need you to do.
Listen,
that's
I love
not
my.
the correct way to run a DM story. That's not.
It's true. I'm a head chef, and I love my cooks, but there are times I want to throw them in the oven. But that's not the way to run a kitchen. He just can't do it.
All right, witch lady.
Anytime I've had a puzzle that had a very specific solution and I was inflexible about allowing for any other solution to work, I could see an hour after the start of that puzzle when like the fun meter went down for the players.
Yeah.
So it's not about getting players to do specifically what I want them to do. You have to be more subtle than just, I have a specific thing I want you to do, and we're not going to leave this room until you do it. If you want to get your players to do what you want.
Do you ever notice that like people are just like not having fun? And you're just like, okay, we gotta twist this up a little bit. We gotta like the fun meter is just like at a low right now.
Can't think of specific instances like that for some of the paid games I've run. I'm sure I've done something where it's like, okay, things are like really quiet now, so I got to spice things up a bit. And it's like, okay, here's a random encounter, orcs attack.
And then also, I think it comes in like with the. I think you have to take in consideration the people that you're playing with. You know, some people are really good by themselves, and when they get in a group of, you know, they just completely just quiet up. They suck, you know, or they don't mesh well with each other, you know.
But you got to give it credit to Aaron, because he did say that when we started. He's like, what kind of adventure are y'all looking for? Do you want me to give you more combat, more adventure, more story, more world? And I think that if you want to keep that fun meter up, that comes down to our DM. And dude,
I mean, Aaron, yes and right, yes and no. You know, as saying, well, you know, what's the old saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yeah. If someone is determined to have a bad day, there's nothing you can do. You know, all he can do is his job and do the best at what he knows he can do. You know, but if the character just having a bad day and he wants to choose to allow that to kind of affect his mood that he's playing, then there's nothing he can do but be who he is, and that's it.
Like me yesterday when I left the party when we were playing.
You know, everybody has those days.
I had a bad day. That's all there was to it. Anyway, dude, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I know we pay you to do it, and it's not like you're like, hey, this is a great group and let's just do this for free. I get that there's fees involved, but dude, I've said this at the end of every episode to Jacob. We have always gotten our money's worth with you. Is there a way, as we get down to the last minutes of the show, that you could is there a way people can find you? Like, what's your social medias or how they can get a hold of you if they want to have you DM their parties?
The easiest way to do that, to specifically reach out to me for GMing purposes, is to just reach out for my SPG profile, which I will post to you on the back end.
Oh, there it is. Look at that.
So you can share that through there.
Okay. And it's SPG, Start Playing Games, spg.com.
It's startplayinggames.com with like a dot between start playing and games, I believe.
Okay. And guys, look for Aaron Wendland. If you guys want to DM, this guy brings it. He's got storyline, he's got music, he's got adventures, he knows how to handle a party. I've played a lot of D&D, and this is one of the most fun games that I've ever played. This is so amazing to me. So thank you very much. I got to give you your flowers. I'm not kissing your ass, but I love it. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Oh, he's definitely kissing it. He's definitely hoping you give him a little extra gold. Yeah,
I could use that extra staff of healing, or like staff of wand of fireball. If you want to slip that into my bag.
Don't give him nothing. Give him the shit, dude. That's all you gotta do. But
don't give him flowers. Give him like
shit. Josh does.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Just no loot. Every time you open something, there's no loot in it. Just do that.
That's Josh.
That is the sack. It's got nothing in it.
Now you've DM'd many games, and a rough estimate of how many games you've DM'd.
Ooh, how many games I've DM'd? So as a good metric to go by, I've definitely started running more games in the past year than I was
over
before.
9,000.
Going session by session.
That's the way to
so
do
like
it.
my start playing games thing says I've been on for 2 years. I've run maybe 10 sessions in the first year before I started running a bunch of sessions in this past year to help pay rent. So Start Playing Games tracks every paid session that I've run. And currently that says 232 sessions hosted. That's people paying me for games.
Wow.
I know that even if I subtract like 10 or so from that number for like the stuff in the first year, for like every, like say 5 of those games or whatever that I've ran on Start Playing Games in this past year, I've run at least 1 game, sometimes 2 games that aren't tracked on Start Playing Games because they're not paid games. So that would probably put that to, let's say, 225 divided by 5.
225 is already a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's crazy.
Over just in this past year, that's like 270 sessions, basically. So
just in this past year.
Almost 300 if you wanted to round it up like that.
So I got 2 questions off of that, just off of that information. One is, what is your biggest, your biggest GM, DM pet peeve at the table? And number 2 is...
Well, let me answer the first one first, because I want to know this one. I got to know.
Biggest pet peeve is people insisting on doing the thing they want to do, regardless of whether or not it matches with the game. And like, that's something that I've done myself as a player before. So I get it. Sometimes you have a concept that you just really want to work with. But like, that's like one of the best ways to like take everybody else out of the game is like, if we're all like here to like roll up into ruins and kill goblins and skeletons and get the loot out or whatever, and one of the alchemist player or whatever shows up and he's like, we live in a society, and he's like just quoting the Joker every 5 minutes because that's his character.
George Costanza.
Like, yeah,
his character concept is we live
in a society, people.
Yeah, his concept is just, what if Joker was an alchemist and like at 5th level I get enough features that I can make my own laughing gas and that'll be my attack in the game or whatever.
Wow.
And it's like you realize we're all like 1st level characters in a low magic setting. Like we can't even afford long swords, and you're talking about we live in a society.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, at least make it fit the time, right?
Yeah.
The time frame. Society isn't even a thing you would say back then. I think it's like, I'm gonna cast a fireballs, Batman.
We have the best fireballs, and the fireballs are huge. All right, I have one last question before we go, because I really got to know.
Let me ask my other question.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you got a 2-parter, and then save some time.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is the largest amount of games you've ran in 1 week?
Oh, the largest amount of games I've ran in 1 week.
Well, like, how many of you had stacked? How do you keep that in order?
Yeah, like 13 a week to keep you going, 2 a day.
I don't think I've broken 10 games a week yet. But I have had a time. There was like this wonderful period of time where I made a lot of money for 2 weeks straight, because I was basically like, for 5 out of the 7 days of the week, I ran 2 sessions every day back to back.
Wow.
I mean, so how does your PC look? How many files you got?
I want to know I got to know what your tab bar looks like.
Oh, my tabs are nuts, but I don't use half of them. I don't use half of them are just like videos I haven't gotten to watch yet that I'm like slowly working my way through.
I love this.
Are you like Spicy? You just got notepads everywhere on your desk?
I have so I have a bunch of, you can see in my back, I have like that paper. That's graph paper with hexes drawn on it. you can't see it here, but that's like graph paper with hexes drawn on it. That's like thumbtacked to a cork board. And there's a slightly larger cork board right next to it. There's a calendar up there. There's like, I'm surrounded by books. I'm almost in like a 360-degree desk with like just a whole bunch of books here. Like there's
his
literally
computer
just
sits
an
on
open
books.
player's handbook right there.
I'm so proud. My little boy's grown up.
How many drives does he have?
Jesus. Okay, so we got to ask.
There.
Holy crap. All right, so I got to ask. You've done all, and I've been on the site that shows all the different games, Shadowrun and Lord of the Rings and D&D and all of this stuff. Labyrinth was one that I thought was pretty cool. I want to play that one. Are there ERP games, erotic, that you've DM'd that get a little spicy? You know what I mean?
I've not DM'd
pull out my wand of sexterity.
I've not DM'd any erotic roleplay games. I have had the fortune or misfortune, depending on who you talk to, of looking through some of those systems. So I like answering rules questions for people or this, that, or the other thing. Like there's a famous one from yesteryear on the internet called like Fatal that somebody tried to get me to run. It's like, no, man. I'm in high school. What are you talking about?
Wait, are you really in high school?
2d6 is to see if you get that bra.
I'm not in high school. At the time, the person was asking me, I was in high school.
Oh my god! What's the craziest like house rule you ever like allowed in the game?
Craziest house rule I've ever allowed in a game?
Yeah.
I tend
What's
to not
a house rule?
It's a house rule. It's a rule that's not in the books, but players want, so it's a thing.
We've all kind of agreed that, you know.
I don't think I've had
that,
any...
you know, like what? Give it an example over here.
So normally it takes like your entire turn to drink a health potion. Like that is the thing you do on your turn is you drink a health potion. That's what it's written as in the rules.
I thought that was a free action.
No, it's an action in 5th edition. Because an item interaction that isn't just like flipping a switch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Like opening a door or pulling a lever is like part of your movement. But like an involved item interaction is an action. It takes up your turn or whatever. So normally it takes up your whole turn effectively. The house rule is you can basically drink it as a free action.
So we went from erotica to people can have their own house rule.
She's upset because we didn't stick on the topic of erotica for long.
I know, that's the thing. She was like, "Ooh, do I have to roll 3d6 to see if he kisses me on the neck?"
That's my thing. I went to school for human sexuality.
And what happens?
Every time
what
I
happens
hear
if you
about it,
critical miss?
You have a baby.
Oh my god! Now you're just holding this thing around. You can't adventure anymore. That's how you lose your character.
Critical.
That's how you play your kill off right there. You just
if you critical miss,
you
get pregnant. You're done.
Now you're pregnant with twins.
You can't venture no more. That's it. You're done. That's wild.
Oh, that was too funny, Laws. That was perfect.
Right. Aaron, before we go, I got one more question for you, and we'll wrap this thing up. So, if you could DM for any 3 people, real or fictional, living or dead, who would they be?
Oh man,
Phat Spicy.
That is actually tough for me.
Bill Clinton. I'm just kidding.
Voldemort.
I'm gonna cast +4, and you're gonna come to the Oval Office and see me.
I
Pocahontas.
could...
That's a good question.
It is a good question. So I don't normally tend to like, I'm too busy like reading stuff and learning things. I don't tend to think of questions like that. Like
if you want, you can just give us some of your top 5, you know, like top 10, you know, like just kind of name some.
I'm struggling to name 3, and you're like, here, just give me some top 5. Top 5.
Slim Shady, Eminem,
would you
all the
Jesus
same
at your
people.
table?
Marshall Mathers.
Okay. So if I had to pick
I'm
3
curious.
people, I would have to. I guess I would just have to guess. Like, because I would be interested in seeing what these people would do if I could remotely keep up with them.
Yes, please.
I would have to guess Oda Nobunaga, Dick Winters, and I'm struggling to think of a third person.
Who
I would
are
love to
these
see in a
people?
group.
I was going to say, you're struggling to think of the third person. I'm struggling to think of who the first two people are.
Who are these people?
Odin Okinawa?
Oda Nobunaga is a famous general from the Warring States period of Japan.
Shit.
He basically kicks off like the last string of. He's like the player who's like almost about to win at Risk, but he doesn't quite have enough steam to finish. So like somebody else comes back and just cleans him out. He's like the first person on that string of. It's a gross oversimplification, but he's like the first person that almost comes away.
So he was a strategist, right?
Yeah, he's a strategist.
Okay.
He's a particularly famous strategist.
What about you guys? What about you guys? Who would you pick? Phat and Spicy.
I think
if I had to DM for 3 people, I mean, Hitler would have to be up there just because I want to see his RP. But who could play well with Hitler? I think that we would go with John Voight. Would be great because he's a great actor and he's like all old and serious, and him and Hitler could get along. But then I think we have to go to the other side and say, I would love to add some chaos. So how about some Tom Green? That's my 3.
I'd probably go with like Quentin Tarantino.
God damn it! You always got to get it better.
What are you, Stephen King and
Morgan Freeman?
No, Stephen King.
I'm going to cast my plus 4 fireball, and it's going to go up your asshole.
That would be crazy to have Morgan Freeman's name voice on there, and probably somebody for like comedy. Just somebody who can keep us laughing.
Like a Jim Carrey kind of.
Yeah, not Jim. Maybe.
That's why I went with Tom Green, because I wanted absurdity.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking like Dave Chappelle or something. Just something wild.
I'm gonna cast a fireball on your ass.
Exactly.
We kicked in this dungeon door to call you.
Yeah, like
chicken.
That's crazy.
I
think that would be amazing, to have those, because like I said, I'm all about the creative aspect of it, and just to see how these minds would work together would be phenomenal.
But it has been a good experiment, hasn't it, Fatsy? That we've seen you, me, Vampire, your buddy from work. I've never met these people. I know you, but we've all taken that journey together in D&D and come together, and we've actually become a really proficient group. Like, we all know each other, we all trust each other, we all have our problems with each other, but they're okay. You know what I mean? Like, when you talk, I hate when you talk, because I'm just like, this guy's embellishing more goddamn stories. You know what I'm saying? But if you didn't have that about you, then I wouldn't have a response to that, and it wouldn't be any fun. That's what I love about the D&D, is that we all make our own characters, and if you're committed and you want to stick with it, you can make some really, really great content like we do. Guys, check us out. Go to Critical Idiots. It's on the PNS Studios on our YouTube page. Go check it out. Give us thumbs up. Give Aaron all of his flowers. Send him some flowers. Send him some coffee. There's a donate page that you can click when we do our thing for him. Send him some goddamn coffee, man. The guy needs to stay awake. Look how many games he's running.
Exactly. But yeah, guys, make sure you check us out Monday, 3 p.m. EST, guys, here on the PNS Studios, Twitch, Facebook, and of course YouTube. As after all that, dude, I think we have to end with one thing.
What's that?
I'm Phat.
I'm Spicy.
And this has been the Phat and Spicy Show, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. You made me dye my hair for that, dude. We didn't even talk about it for 3 seconds. I went and bought
I couldn't see it, dude. I couldn't see your hair. Dude.
It doesn't show up good. Look.
If you would have came in with like
good.
orange makeup, dude, and just saying, I would have lost it.
And we're back.
That's right.